So today, lads, we're going to be talking a little bit about something that I saw a while ago, and unfortunately, like if you guys don't know, I've been away, so I had a long day. It's like 8:30, and I just got home. So a lot of topics that I kind of wished I talked about earlier or talked about yesterday, but this is something that I actually saw on Twitter from Dunk Central maybe about an hour or two ago. Even though I'm clearly a day late, to this, so I do want to apologize. But before Caitlin Clark's season-ending injury, WNBA tickets were averaging $89. The moment she went down, price crashed nearly 30%, plummeting to $62 a seat. That's kind of crazy. And there's a lot of reasons for this, but obviously the biggest reason is Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark literally being out, and again, she's only on one team. But a very big chunk of the total attendance in WNBA is from the Indiana Fever. They have the second highest home attendance, and teams are literally moving arenas. So yeah, a lot of teams, whether it be the Lynx opening the Upper Bowl, whether it be the Wings, the Dream, the Sky, all of these teams moving games. All of these teams are moving games for the Indiana Fever, regardless of who it is. They all have to sell those seats. And a lot of people don't want to go, and it's super cheap. Like, it's a lot easier to fill a 10,000 seat arena without Caitlin Clark than to fill 20,000. So you're going to have to find a way to do it anyway, which is what a lot of people are going to be doing, trying to sell tickets. The seats for the playoffs, I would say the Indiana Fever playoff seats would have been, honestly, like nearly $1,000 in. I actually think had Caitlin Clark been playing, it would be nearly $1,000 into this game. I also think they'd be in the 4-5 matchup, but at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter too much. The WNBA won't fix their whistle. I don't know how much of Caitlin Clark's injury has been caused by the whistle. I think you can do it in a roundabout way because the whistle's so bad, meant she felt like she needed to bulk up and she did something wrong in her off season. Then in a roundabout way, you can blame the injuries. You can blame the whistle, but I wouldn't necessarily do that. But people still showed up and paid less. Well, yeah. Must be sitting on the roof for $62. Went to a Mystics game and still cost sitting seats to actually see the game. For Angel Reese game against the Liberty, she probably not paying. Playing in one tickets will cost you $461. Lads, I bought a ticket for $350 and I sat courtside at game 3 of the finals last year. I paid $350. I sat courtside. Mystics versus Mercury 182. Row AA, seat 17. Is that first row in that section? Row CC, third row for this one in that section. $461 for first row behind the scorers table. With no seats in front of you. But like, yeah, no shit. Yeah, no shit, it's going to cost that much for a big game, to be honest. It probably will cost you. Someone said one ticket's costing you $461. Like, that ticket for an Indiana Fever game with Caitlin Clark is $3,000. Like, that ticket's $2,000 to $3,000 for a Fever game with Caitlin Clark. Look at the seat for $85. But again, it's Winthrust. It's Winthrust. If this game would have been $8 if it was in with a 20,000 seater stadium. Because at the end of the day, again, it's a lot easier to fill out 10,000 than to fill 20. But yeah, it is a crazy one. It is genuinely a crazy one. But just paid $139 for Sparks versus Aces. Well, yeah, you probably got a good seat. You probably got a good seat. Sitting in the bleachers in a 20,000 seater stadium is probably going to cost you $10. And if you spent that much on extra Sparks and the Aces and you didn't get a good seat, you got yourself scammed. You got yourself scammed. Like the Sparks versus the Aces, you get to watch 16 minutes of Angel Wilson play basketball, and you get to watch Kelsey Plum play for 12 minutes for a team that's out of the playoffs. So you kind of get you're getting scammed basically. Like, that's the one game you never go to. I made the mistake when I was in America. I was 17 years old and I went to see the New York Knicks face the Toronto Raptors on the last game of the 13-14 season. And Carmelo Anthony didn't play. I don't think J.R. Smith played. Kyle Lowry and DeRozan only played the first quarter. So, yeah, like, I saw nobody play because they sat in that game. The 13-14 season as well, late on, 2 games to go in the season. The Miami Heat had just lost the first seed to the Indiana Pacers. Washington Wizards versus the Miami Heat in Washington. And what happened? LeBron James sits, Chris Bosh sits, and Dwayne Wade is only playing because he's just coming back from injury and was garbage. Like, those games you should never go to. But at the end of the day, look, the fact that one player can bring down the entire cost of the league's ticket prices by 30% while being on one of 13 teams is scary. It is scary. But I do think it is a case where it's like fever games have obviously gone down. But I say this as well, like other teams' games are suffering big time. I think people are suffering, or you're massively suffering because in the mainstream, let's be completely honest, in the last year, outside of the stud buds, who's actually become a semi-household name? Because Dejanay was last year, Enrique was because of the All-Star game. All of these things that people were watching and became fans of these players, the general population isn't. There's nobody really. Maybe Sonia Citron? Maybe. But like that's it this season. Maybe Dewana Bonner's become a more known name than any time in her career other than this because she's a quitter. But yeah, that's pretty much it, lads. Like, for me, the league as a whole has suffered more for Caitlin Clark being injured, ironically, than Caitlin Clark has suffered from Caitlin Clark being injured. Because I think the league has shown that it's not doing the greatest job outside of certain teams. Like, I think the Aces are doing a fine job. I think the Valks are doing a really good job of it. They are the bright point. The Liberty are stinking it up on the floor, but they've been doing okay. The Lynx just do their own thing. They're not the most exciting basketball thing to watch, but they just do their own thing. Don't hate them, but it's like, it is the severe lack of attendance and people going and people caring about the Wings, the Sky, the Dream. Like, Dream fans are Aces fans that live in Atlanta. Like, that's basically it. They're Aces fans that live in Atlanta. You've got that. I think the Mystics are a fun team. I don't think they have fans. The Wings don't have fans. The Sky, in fairness, the Sky do have fans, but it's a much smaller percentage than people think. I'm trying to think what teams actually have fans in this league. The Valks, obviously. Dream, no. Storm, no. They're the only team in Seattle and they don't really have fans. The Mercury, no. Honestly, no. Like, they're not pushing anything really anywhere in terms of just the general speak. But yeah, it's a pity for the league. But at the end of the day, it's proving again Caitlin is bigger than this league.